we can fly?
How does Tom Cruise do this?
Eddie, my own, has found us.
This world can't survive if you stay together.
I'm with you to the end.
Venom, The Last Dance.
We need a disguise.
Why do you keep knocking people out?
I'm sorry.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Sony dropped a brand new Venom The Last Dance trailer, so we'll break it all down. There's a couple interesting scenes here where they're teasing the symbiote hive mind and Null surfacing inside the Venom universe, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. They also said they're releasing an even longer trailer at the end of this week. Of course, I will do a video for whatever that winds up being when they release it. But there's a bunch of new scenes in this trailer that we haven't seen before, so just starting at the beginning of the trailer and going through shot by shot. They start with Venom on that plane. Now, there's a couple fight scenes with him against the Xenophage on the plane, but this scene starts with him attached to the plane, using the symbiote to just like sucker attach himself to the outside of the plane. They make a big Tom Cruise joke, like Eddie makes a Tom Cruise joke, because Tom Cruise in real life is really infamous for doing his own very, very dangerous stunts. Like, this is him on top of the Burj Khalifa. The funny Marvel connection is that in the very early 2000s, Tom Cruise was originally supposed to be the first version of Iron Man in the MCU. Like, when they were first developing an Iron Man movie, he was their go-to guy. Kevin Feige actually said the reason why it wasn't Tom Cruise, like why it eventually wound up being Robert Downey Jr. in 2008, why it took him so long, is because at the time they were developing that Tom Cruise Iron Man movie, Tom Cruise was asking for more money than a studio was willing to spend on a comic book movie. Cut to present day and how much difference Robert Downey Jr. made in the character, like he was born to play the character. Now he's being paid over $85 million for each of the upcoming Avengers movies, Avengers 5 Doomsday and Avengers 6 Secret Wars. So that's like $170 million for 2 Avengers movies. Talk about spending too much money on a single actor. When the symbiote says, "I told you we could fly," that's also meant to be a sly wink at the more recent Venom comics, where they introduced the concept of Venom wings, like basically the symbiote being able to create its own wings from the material of the symbiote. Maybe we'll see a version of that during this movie. They've wanted to keep the Venom movies, like the live-action Venom movies, fairly grounded, which is why they haven't gotten into too much cosmic stuff. Like, they've just started to slowly bump up against the cosmic side of Venom and Null and all that stuff. Then he gets into that fight with one of the Xenophage that we've seen in all the previous trailers, freaking out. We get the voiceover of the Venom symbiote talking to Eddie, saying that his home has found them, making it sound like it's the Xenophage from their natural predators have been attracted to planet Earth and found all the symbiotes running around. There was actually a storyline from the comics that I think they're partially adapting for this movie called Venom the Hunted, where the Xenophage are attracted to Earth because of a bunch of different symbiotes that are running around. And a lot of the symbiotes that were featured in that story are seemingly featured in this trailer, like Lasher, for instance, this new symbiote. That's the unstoppable army that Orwell Taylor's character is talking about during the trailer. There's that short scene of Juno Temple's Patricia Robertson character from the comics seeing what seems like the Xenophage crashing to planet Earth. Then we start to see what seems like the symbiote hive mind, like depictions of the actual hive mind itself and the way that all the symbiotes are connected when they do the transition titles. So on this one where they just say the date, like, oh, this is being released October 25th, look in the background at all the different tendrils of the symbiote connected to each other. There's red and black mixed in, like red tendrils and black tendrils. Each time they flash to one of these title screens with this type of symbiote hive mind connection in the background, it seemingly forms into a symbiote in the middle, like there's a ball forming in the middle, like another symbiote is surfacing. There's a lot of early speculation that they're using this as sort of the path to the resurfacing of the Null character within the Venom universe. He's become a really huge character in the more recent Venom comics. He's a bit of an older character that Donny Cates turned into a much bigger character in much more recent times, basically serving as an overarching antagonist for almost the entire Marvel universe. But essentially for Sony, like over on their Venom side, I think like these Spider-Man spin-off movies that they're doing, he would be sort of like the Thanos level villain for them to do for all these Spider-Man spin-off movies. I do not expect this movie to be like a full-on Null story. Like, there might be some Null stuff that they teased during this. Doing a full-on Venom versus Null kind of movie would be more like them doing their own version of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Like, it'd almost be too much for them to also throw that storyline into this Venom movie and keep the movie under a $300 million budget. So I still think the Xenophage, just in general, are meant to be the actual main antagonists of this movie. When Patricia Robertson is talking to someone saying this world can't survive if you two stay together, it sounds like they're implying she's talking to the Venom character. The early theory is that what she's referring to is their connection is symbiote, like all the symbiotes surfacing on planet Earth, the symbiotes spawning, like you see Orwell Taylor capturing a piece of symbiote that's spawned at the bar from Spider-Man No Way Home, which seems like it's in the Venom universe now. There's a bunch of new symbiotes that start to be created on planet Earth, and that's what's attracting the xenophage, like from the Venom Hunted storyline. So it's threatening planet Earth because the xenophage are going to come completely destroy Earth in their quest to get all the symbiotes. What they also might be teasing here, side note, like sort of like the secret plot underneath all this, like they're mostly worried about the xenophage, but underneath all that, the idea is that you get enough symbiotes on planet Earth, their hive mind begins to connect, and that also might help Null resurface in this universe and reassert control over all symbiotes everywhere in the Venom universe. Most of the rest of the new footage here throughout this trailer is just the xenophage in different scenes coming for the Venom symbiote. They also end this trailer with the funny scene of him in Vegas going outside of one of the casinos, just slapping one of these dudes and stealing his tux. Originally, I just assumed that the Venom symbiote turned itself into the actual tuxedo clothing. Like, why would they need to knock someone out to steal his clothing if the symbiote could just turn itself into a tuxedo? Personally, I think the most interesting thing in all this new trailer footage is the idea of actually seeing a version of the symbiote hive mind, just because of the way they talked about it during Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene, and how it basically connected them to all the Spider-Man mythos in the MCU and in the Tobey Maguire universe, all the other universes too.
80 billion light years of hive knowledge across universes, just the smallest fraction of the things we symbiotes have experienced.
The way they describe the symbiote hive mind in the comics, this also gets into a little bit of the Null mythology too. The symbiote hive mind is a mental and metaphysical realm that physically connects symbiotes to one another and to their god, Null, because he's called the god of symbiotes. He created all the symbiotes. They're basically created from pieces of him. But the other big twist that they introduced with the symbiote hive mind is that the hive mind itself serves as an afterlife for deceased symbiotes and their hosts, who can also resurface from that afterlife. I don't know that they're going to get that crazy with that concept in this movie. Just like I said, they're trying to keep the Venom movies relatively grounded for now with very little cosmic stuff, but it sounds like they're trying to create a couple avenues for them to do more spin-offs, not necessarily Venom solo movies, but introduce these other characters in more cosmic ways down the road. They call this movie Venom: The Last Dance. It's meant to be a reference to the Chicago Bulls' The Last Dance. If you haven't seen that documentary, it's all about like their final big run during the 90s when all the craziest, best players were on the same team. After that run, they all broke up and all went to separate teams, so it was like the last dance for this epic team-up. What Sony wants you to think is that this might be the last dance for Venom, Symbiote, and Eddie together, like they might actually have to break up. But the way they've been talking about it behind the scenes, the way Kevin Feige's been talking about Tom Hardy's event, like everybody wants to see him during Secret Wars. Everybody wants to see him actually cross over with Spider-Man in an actual scene. They were going to do that during Spider-Man No Way Home, but that was before they knew they were going to get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back. There were a whole bunch of deleted scenes where you see Tom Holland actually getting that piece of the symbiote. Like, this is a legit deleted scene from Spider-Man No Way Home. I put it in a bunch of my videos before, but I think a lot of people don't realize this was actually meant to be something that they were going to do during Spider-Man No Way Home. The reason why you didn't see this in the movie is because they had so much Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire stuff, and that they felt like the movie was strong enough with what they did go with that they could just save Spider-Man getting the symbiote for like a future movie, and it sounds like they're going to save that for Avengers: Secret Wars. Marvel is infamous for doing that, like amazing deleted scenes. Why didn't this make it into the movie? Because there was just already a bunch of stuff in the film, and they wanted to save big moments, if possible, for future films, so they had stuff to fall back on in the future. But the actual symbiote hive mind was something that Null himself created. So part of the idea is that he controls the symbiote hive mind. So the idea that you get enough symbiotes on planet Earth, it might recreate this hive connection between them. So that might be another big threat that they don't know about till like the end of the movie. When it comes to characters like Null, like really big cosmic stuff, just based on the way it seems like the trailer is playing out with the xenophage, the villains, what's happening with Orwell Taylor, the other symbiotes, it seems like that would be more of like a post-credits kind of thing, like very end of the movie teaser. So be sure when you're going to see this movie to couch your expectations, like don't go into the movie expecting to see a ton of Null stuff. The interesting thing about that, though, is there was a deleted scene from Venom Let There Be Carnage with the Carnage character teasing the Null character.
Small thinkers have an opportunity to make a mark on this world so indelible. Why look to God when you have him right here, the father of all? All humans are pestilence. We can create a new race.
My guess is they just decided that it was too much, like the scene just became too much for the movie. Like, we don't want to deal with all this story yet. We can save this whole concept for much, much later, for like a whole other movie. Everybody let me know in the comments, if they eventually do the Null character and they're not going to do more Venom solo movies, how do you want them to do Null inside this whole Sony universe in the future? They could even do a movie, just call it King in Black, and do it as like a team up with other characters that they want to introduce. Like they said, there's a much longer trailer with even more new footage that they're releasing at the end of this week. Of course, I will do a video for it when they do release it. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel to be one of the first people to watch that. Everybody click here for that other brand new Venom trailer with the brand new symbiote, and click here for that video of Andrew Garfield talking about Spider-Man 4 and the future of his amazing Spider-Man, Peter number 3. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.